I don't understand it, to be honest with you. It's a camera that has zero difference. It's no difference than the previous model. None. Not at all. It has a slightly improved autofocus system, so I'll give Canon that. It does have an improved autofocus system. You're looking at a price tag of $599 for the body alone. For the 15 to 45, $699, and now that is expected available at November 25th. The body alone is expected available December 4th, and then there's a kit 15 to 45 and the 55 to 200 millimeter lens that's also expected December 4th. $929 on that one. So I'm not going to knock the price on this because I think the price is right. However, if you go right down spec for spec and you compare these two cameras, there's no difference in the M50 Mark I and the M50 Mark II. In 2020, I think that micro USB has no place in any camera except for like the lowest of the lowest point and shoot cameras with tiny little sensors that, you know, people buy that they hardly ever use, and they put it in their pockets and they go to try to travel with it, but they never actually take it out of the pocket because they regularly use their smartphone anyways. But this camera right here still comes with a micro USB, and I think, you know, so here's the thing with micro USB. Nobody else has put it in their cameras anymore. Panasonic's pretty much all on USB Type-C. Sony is the only, like, old-timer, I guess. But they only put it in their lowest, the lower-end cameras, I guess. They don't really put it in any of their full-frame cameras. And they've been putting it in their APS-C, which I think it's time for Sony to, you know, at least give us an upgrade with USB Type-C this coming year or next year. 2021, but Canon elected to put a micro USB in here, which is also, by the way, not a charging port. From my knowledge, I could never charge. I used to have the M50 Mark I. It could never charge through the port. That was just a data transfer port, really, which I don't necessarily prefer to charge my cameras through USB Type-C, or sorry, through the USB port. But I want the availability. I want the option to be able to do that, because if I'm out and about and I don't really have, and I want to keep using my camera, I can always plug in a battery charger, a battery power bank or whatever, and get, you know, pretty much continuous power. And with these Canon cameras, none of them you can do that with. There's some, I guess, you can get power delivery charger, and that does work, but for the most part, with these micro USB ones, I don't believe that it does work. Please correct me in the comments down below that if I'm wrong. But I don't believe the M50 does work. I don't want to bash this camera that much because it's not a terrible camera. The problem is that it's 2020. They put out a new camera, and it's no different than the one that they put out in, what, 2017 or maybe 2018? And even at the 4K, so they put 4K video in this again, and they put a huge crop, and then they put contrast detect autofocus in the 4K. They updated the 1080p autofocus, and apparently it's just as good as the Canon R6 and R5 in 1080p, but they didn't bother to put it in there, and I don't get it. They have this great dual pixel autofocus system. It's almost as if, you know, well, this would cost us more, but we're aiming this camera to stupid people. And I'm not saying that people buy this camera, they're stupid. What I'm saying is that a lot of people are buying this camera because of the price, and that's it. They don't really look at the specs. It's a great content creator camera if you don't really care about 4K. And I think in 2020, if you're not shooting in 4K, you might be wrong, in my opinion. 4K, I think, is necessary. And I think that Canon kind of missed the ball on this. It really has zero on the... I can't recommend this camera to anybody over the M50 Mark I. And I think that if that's what they're aiming for, and that's what they're trying to get, I think that's a big fail, because the M50 Mark I mean, obviously, you know, you can buy those used now. That's been out for a couple of years. You know, you can get heavy discounts on them. And this is what we get. Basically the exact same cameras, the slightly better autofocus system, the batteries that hasn't changed. You know, there's still a pretty terrible lens lineup for the M50. If it wasn't for those Sigma lenses, the 30mm, the 56mm, and the 16mm lens, I honestly wouldn't recommend the M lineup to anybody if it wasn't for those 3 lenses. And those lenses are priced right, beautiful lenses. Image quality out of them is just top notch. They are, a great addition if you're looking to the Canon system. Now, I used to have a Canon M50. Matter of fact, I've had it twice. The M50 Mark 1. I had the 16mm f1.4. Beautiful, beautiful lens. I definitely recommend it. It's definitely good. But with this new camera coming out, there's nothing to kind of that makes the camera any better than the original version. Like, this is one of those things where this is what Canon used to do, and it's like they're reverting back to how we used to run business. Now, over the last year or so, Canon has kind of gone ahead. I mean, the R6 and the R5 have put them back on the map as, hey, we're the industry leader. And then this camera comes out and says, oh, we're not really. We don't really want to be the industry leader. We did the same damn thing and rebranded it a Mark II camera. So kind of a bummer on this one. I can't recommend this to anybody, to be honest with you. I can recommend this to people if you can't get your hands on an M50 Mark 1 anymore. And this is the camera for you, you know what I mean? But that is what it is. So